Good morning, everybody. It's Tamika TTC, and guess what? It's insemination day. It's a different kind of insemination, though. If you've been following my videos, you know I'm going to be doing a home insemination. So, let's get to it. It is cycle 7. It is actually day 10. Okay? Alright, so in case you haven't watched my last video, let me recap what I did this cycle up to this point. So, we know that, my acupuncturist has me on a new herb. This herb is to unblock the channels and warm the uterus. So that's my new herb that I'm on all the time. Of course, I'm on my prenatal. I'm on my CoQ10. So you got, here's my CoQ10. I take 400 milligrams of this. So that's 4 gummies instead of 2. My prenatal, the one that I use, it's the one a day. Prenatal. I take one of those. Now, that's every day, non-stop, no matter what. I also take a multivitamin, the Tangy Tangerine. I take half dose of this since I take the prenatal as well. I stopped the serapeptase, remember, for the herb that my acupuncturist gave me. Now, on cycle days 3 through 7, I have taken 120 milligrams of soy isoflavones. Soy isoflavones is thought to be a natural clomid, and it is about half as potent. So 120 milligrams of soy isoflavones relates to 60 milligrams of clomid. Cycle days 3 through 7. Okay. Now, since I had a feeling that I would ovulate around the same time that I did last cycle when I missed it, I also have been taking evening primrose oil. The bottle I was using, I just finished up last night. I have another bottle that's like all the way across the room. I'm not going to get it. You can check out the last video where I showed it. So I've been taking the evening primrose oil to help with my cervical mucus. I also, on cycle day 5, started taking glufenescent, Mucinex, or an expectorant. I mentioned this to my acupuncturist, and she told me to stop taking it because even though it's an expectorant, it can still dry up mucus. Haven't heard that, but basically she gave me something to replace it with, and that was this tea throat coat. Okay, now the ingredients of interest in here is licorice root and marshmallow root. This particular one comes in a regular and a lemon nation. You can drink it up to 3 times a day. There are some warnings about this tea that you shouldn't take it if if you have high blood pressure, any kidney problems. Basically you can read it's actually not on the box. The warning's actually on the tea bag. It's kind of like if you have high blood pressure, heart disease, impaired kidney or liver function. And then you should consult prior to use if you have low potassium, rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune disorder, progressive systemic disease such as tuberculosis, leukosis, collagenoses, multiple sclerosis, AIDS or HIV infections, or if you're taking immunosuppressants, diuretics, corticosteroids, cardiac glycosides, such as digoxin, potassium depleting agents, or if you're pregnant, breastfeeding. So, but it says you can take it up to 3 times a day. I don't know if it made a difference between the gooey finesse and this. She made me stop taking it on like day 6 or 7. So, what else? I replaced it. My cervical mucus is still a little thick because it did show up yesterday. But I guess, you know, I have other cervical mucosa which has been showing up. So I guess that means something. Okay, so that's what I've been doing. I've also been using my ferning microscope. Okay. And I will say that I had been using it and I hadn't seen any ferning, even though, well, let's just put it this way. When I got up yesterday, which was cycle day 9, and I took my OPKs, the digital OPK came in low, and the strip had nothing on it. But because I have the experience from last week, I decided also on cycle day 9 to test multiple times throughout the day. And let me explain why I decided to test multiple times throughout the day. Now, I believe I mentioned this in my last video, but I know what I did wrong and how I missed last cycle and why my ovulation came on probably so suddenly. And that is why I missed it is because I didn't pay attention to my body. I was relying heavily on the OPKs and not just paying attention to my body. So this cycle, just like last cycle, I had a drop in temperature on cycle day 9. Even though the OPKs came in low first thing in the morning, because I take everything at 6:30 in the morning. But I had egg white cervical mucus at 6:30 in the morning. That right there was my clue. And I should have known to order my tank last cycle based on that cervical mucosa. But I did not. And I did not test again with my OPKs until the next morning, which you already know the story. It was too late. So what I did differently this time is, one, because I did the same exact thing with the soy, I basically predicted that the same exact thing would happen, that I would get a peak on cycle day 10 and would have to inseminate on cycle day 10. So how I know about that is, you know, in the devastation and all of that, I did some more reading on soy isoflavones to see what was going on. And I already knew that soy isoflavones works like Clomid. I didn't find anything new about it. I thought about it more and made some deductions. So the way Clomid works, which is different than letrozole or Femara, the way Clomid works is it blocks your estrogen receptors. So, as you know, in the follicular stage of your cycle, your estrogen slowly rises and then shoots up before LH, right? Before ovulation. So, as your follicles are growing and competing to become the dominant, your estrogen is rising. So what Clomid does is it blocks your estrogen receptors, fools your body into thinking that you have less estrogen than you really do. So that triggers your body to stimulate follicle stimulating hormone, which then stimulates more follicles in your ovaries, which then produces more estrogen, right? So you're taking that cycle days 3 through 7, and your body doesn't know exactly how much estrogen you have in it because of the receptors being blocked. How your cycle works is when your estrogen reaches a threshold in your body says, okay, we're done stimulating follicles, let's ovulate. So that threshold, when your estrogen hits that threshold, that triggers your body to produce your LH surge, right? So your estrogen peaks, and then your LH will peak right after you get your peak, then you ovulate. So what I believe happened last cycle and also this cycle is I took the soy isoflavones up until cycle day 7, and so everything was blocked, but I take mine at night. Okay, so what happens is cycle day 8 in the evening, the soy is still in my system. It's 24 hours. By morning of cycle day 9, my body is starting to get the extra estrogen, because when I took the OPK on cycle day 9, the control line was extra bright. So that's an indicator that my estrogen, or at least on the digital, that's an indicator that my estrogen was indeed high, very high. So my body is now registering that estrogen is there. And it's quite interesting because the estrogen is there, but your body doesn't know that it's there, so it doesn't show up in your urine. It's like, it's incredibly amazing how this works. So now that the receptors are starting to become unblocked, all of a sudden I get a rush of estrogen. So what I decided to do on cycle day 9, everything was still low on that morning at 6:30. So I said, I'm going to test in the afternoon and I'm going to test in the evening. So I believe around 12 or 1 or so, I tested again, and on the strips, I got, actually, no, it wasn't 1. It was probably more like 2 in the afternoon. I tested on the strip, and the strip was just a hair shy of being the exact same shade, and the digital actually gave me a peak, and that's how close it was. So that was about 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So what most people would do at that point is basically consider that a peak, and now I have 24 hours or less to do my insemination. So I decided to test again in the evening around 11 o'clock, and it was the digital, the 2 lines on the digital. Once you get a peak on the digital, you can't use the handle that gives you the smiley face anymore, but I can still use the stick, and the stick has 2 lines, and it definitely had 2 darker lines later in the evening. So that's definitely a peak. And the strips does not have maybe my urine's been a little diluted, I'm not sure, but the strips just have not been as close in shade as they were that time, the first time that I took it at 2 o'clock that day. So I am considering my peak to have started somewhere around 2 o'clock that day, somewhere between 6 a.m. and 2 o'clock, 6:30 a.m. and 2 o'clock. The time is now 7:30 a.m. And so since I don't want to take those chances, I am essentially going to do my insemination this morning. Yes. So my tank came in yesterday. Like I said, I had a feeling that everything would happen the same exact way as it did last cycle. So I scheduled my tank to show up on Friday. It showed up on Friday, and then the tank was here. It came about 10 o'clock in the morning. And then, because remember, like I said, Friday morning, it was cycle day 9. I had, everything was just low, and then my tank came. And then I took my OPKs again around 1, 2-ish. And then I was peaking, and it was like, perfect, perfect, perfect. I have my tank. I have my peak, and all is well. So I'm very excited for today, and I'm going to show you everything, well, not everything, of course, that I'm going to do today to make my insemination happen. So let's get started with opening the box with the tank in it. There he is in all his glory, my tank. Let me pop the top and get right back. It has a tank label on it, and this is California Cryobank, and there is a expiration date, so I have to make sure I send it back to them before the 21st. Ew, I don't have a whole lot of time now, do I? All right. Anyway, pop this bad boy open. Yeah, packet of information. Here's my return label. It's a California Cryobank. It's going to go back 2-day shipping to avoid a late return fee of $25 a day. Tank's not returned within 30 days. That's by January, will be considered lost. And there is a $700 lost tank fee. And it's going to go back via FedEx. And looks like it has 72 million with 38% motility. I believe 25%. This motility is a little low, but it's 38% of 72 million. We have summary of records for my donor. And we have receipt of package, general information. Don't touch the inner contents with your bare hand. It is dry. Shipper validated at room temperature in an upright position to maintain a temperature of the specimens below 150 degrees Celsius during the shipping process. Important that you take proper safety precautions. I will also say that when I ordered my tank, the lady did tell me that the tank lasts 7 days. The website says 5 days. She doesn't know why they say 5 days, but that's what it is. Upon initial receipt of the package, immediately check the condition of the tank, perform an inventory of the specimen in the following manner. Well, how was I supposed to know to do this unless I opened the box? But I just got it yesterday, so it's not horrible. So open the box, don't remove the tank from the box, save the box to return shipping. Envelope here that came. Okay, so as you can see, it's still at the door. There it is. And it says not to return my empty vials. There is the tank. I am 5'4.5". This box comes up above my knee, almost mid-thigh. So that's how tall the tank is. Let's see. Open the box. Don't remove the tank. Verify that there is a blue sealed strap. That is this tie here. Okay. Cut the strap to gain access. Okay, let's do that. I've got scissors in my hand, so I'm gonna pop the box. There we go. You're free. Okay. And then, oops. Let's see. Lift the cap off the tank by raising it straight up. Do not twist. Observe the presence of cold vapor smoke when the lid is removed from the tank. Okay. So there's the vapor. Yeah. There's some vapor there. Okay. Check the specimen inventory. Compare the shipping document to the actual specimen labels. Verify the number, quantity received. So, I only have one. It says not to touch the inside with the bare hands. So, I am not going to do that. This is cold, but it's on the outside, so I can touch that. But, oh well. Obviously, I need something else to grab that. Alright, let me go get a pot holder. Hold on. Alright, I am back here. And thank goodness for selfie sticks, because otherwise, I would not be able to hold this camera up at the same time. Alright, so I need to verify. There's my vial. And I can see the number on here. Okay. That is my donor's number. My pot holder. So I can touch it. Okay. I'm going to put this cat back. Keep everything nice and cold while I read the rest of this. Okay, thawing instructions. Place vials in warm water for 15 minutes for insemination within 2 hours. For laboratory validation before use, thaw the vials for 10 minutes in a water bath for 25 minutes in a dry heat block. Okay. When specimen is completely thawed, do not mix by inversion, as the contents may be displaced into the vial cap, leading to partial loss of the sample. Mix the sample by slowly pipetting the entire volume up and down with a positive pressure disposal device prior to slowly recovering the sample from the vial. For ICI specimens, aspirate the content into the insemination device. The specimen is now ready for intracervical insemination. Use for insemination within 2 hours after thawing. Note, if ICI specimens are to be used for intrauterine, further processing is required. Well, we're not doing intrauterine today. And then there's instructions for IUI, and then it says both ICI and IUI vials require further processing for IVF procedures. Then there is some tank return instructions. I've been provided with a plastic pouch and a return label. Place the label into the plastic pouch and adhere it to the top of the box. Take a copy from my records. Call the courier to have the tank picked up. Record the tracking number confirmation for my records. And that's that. That's in here. Alright, so I have my cup of warm water and my oven mitts because this is going to be cold. I'm going to hope that doesn't spill over. Okay. So, my niece has been gracious enough to be my camera woman while I do this because I need both of my hands. Okay, so here, and my vial is in here. Oh, sure. And I'm going to try my best not to drop it when I pull it out of here. Can't feel a thing. Don't bend it, Tamika. There we go. Can't touch it with my bare hands. I'm going to put this cap back and be safe. There. So it's super duper cold. And I can kind of feel it through the mitts. And I'm going to drop this in my warm water. And my 15 minutes is starting. See you in a few. Okay, everybody, so here's my bed. You'll see the laptop in the distance with the pregnancy affirmations. That's what I got going on as sort of my background noise today. So this is where the magic will happen. Well, not exactly, but I'm going to lay with my head here, my hips up here, and my feet high. And I will also be wearing socks because in Chinese medicine, they believe that heat can escape your body through your feet. So it's important to keep your feet warm. So that's what I'm going to be doing. All right, so it's been 15 minutes. Let's get prepped to insert the sperm. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, guys, never mind my background music. Never mind the paint stains on my little house dress or whatever. But what I got here is my pre-seed and my applicator. And I haven't opened this before, so I need to puncture that. Okay. And, I mean, I know a lot of women warn about slipping and sliding and whatnot. But, you know. Okay, so I'm going to squeeze. And I guess this is 2 or 3. I'll go with 3. I don't mind slipping and sliding. I just need the sperm to swim. Okay. This is 3. And I mean, this is already sort of. Okay. So I am going to do my business with this and be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. All right, so pre-seed is in. They say it takes about 15 minutes. So let's check the time. It is 8:22. Now, while I wait for that 15 minutes, what I will do with my vial here. Now, see, this is a really small vial. What you will notice is you don't get the entire length of the vial. The specimen is liquid in here. There is like a little fill line because the screw comes all the way down here. So you really get about half this vial. It is literally next to nothing that you get. So it says you have to mix it. And I don't have anything to pipette it with. So I am just going to rub it between my hands to mix it. Now, it's been probably 20-25 minutes since I put it in the water. I do get 2 hours. I'm not going to take the whole 2 hours. So I'm just trying to gently mix it. They tell you not to shake it because then it might get mixed up in the screws here and then you lose sample, right? So I am trying to gently mix it. That way it's just spinning from side to side. Okay, now, what was that, 8:22? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this in my arm so that it can get to body temperature. Let me try not to hold it upside down. So that I'm going to hold it like this so that it can get to body temperature. Matter of fact, I'm going to use my left arm because I am right-handed. Right? And this way it'll get up to my body temperature. So when I'm ready to insert it, that'll be great. So I am going to come back to you guys in just a second for you, but in 13 minutes for me. And I'm just going to hold this here all uncomfortable like. So I've got like a fertility meditation that's playing in the background right now. So I'm just going to go lay down, go into this fertility meditation, and get back to you in a second. Bye. All right, guys, I am back. I am still holding Mister in my arm, but now we're at the insemination part. So I already explained in a previous video that I will be using soft cups. I debated for some time whether I would put a little pre-seed in the soft cup, but I mean, I just feel like this wouldn't be my body temperature. What I've inserted is my body temperature, and I just worked for 15 minutes to sort of get this to body temperature. So I'm not going to do that. Nope. Okay. So I've got my soft cup. I am going to open it. But I'm going to have to put it down, so I don't want to open it completely. Well, I will. Alright. So comes like this, right? And we all know that this is a little baggy. But I want to pull this bag so that it can be as shallow as possible. Alright, so I'm going to put this down back on the, back in here, so that, alright, so I'm just going to pull this, right, okay, now, I've got my Mr. Try not to drop him, and, feels all nice and warm, and basically, I'm going to open this. Hopefully it is mixed well. And I am just going to pour it. More binaural beats go. A little bit of sample in there. I really don't want to lose any. Alright, it's probably just a drop. So that's it. That is in there. And I'll show you, it really is literally a little bit. I don't even know if you can see it. I'm trying not to spill it, so it really is just a little bit. See that? It really is just a teeny tiny bit. Okay. Alright, so basically what I'm going to do is squeeze this and insert it in sample side first, because that's the side that's closest to my cervix, and be right back. Okay, and I want to go lay down, but I think in the process of spilling that, I wasn't leaning back far enough, and it moved forward and got all over my hand. And to be quite honest, I don't know if it was pre-seed. I don't know if it was my donor. I'm going to lay down, and we're just going to hope for the best for the next 2 weeks. Basically, what I'm going to do from this point is I am going to lay down. I am going to induce orgasm so that my cervix can reach down in and get what's left of the sample if there's anything. Oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. Hopefully that was just pre-seed getting pushed out as I was pushing it in. I'm gonna hope that that was pre-seed. I don't know what that was. It was a lot of it. Maybe it was the pre-seed, but we're gonna hope for the best. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do, and I'll be back in a bit. Hey everybody. Okay. It's been a crazy kind of day. I'm just gonna say it's been a crazy kind of day. So, in the middle of my insemination and everything that I was trying to do to relax and go through my ritual and all of that, I get pinged for work. And I got a bunch, I work in IT, and I got a bunch of customers that were trying to go live in their environments this weekend, and they needed my assistance. So I was getting calls. And fortunately, actually what happened is things weren't supposed to get started till about 10 o'clock this morning. And so I figured I'd be in the clear pretty much to, you know, do things 7, 8 this morning. So who knew that I would be getting a call as I was inserting my specimen. Craziness. So that sort of made things a little frantic. And then, you know, I already mentioned how I was putting the specimen in and a bunch of stuff backed out over my hand. And I hope that's not my specimen. I hope that that was the pre-seed that backed out because, you know, there was no more room for it in order to put the soft cup in. So, well, I'm officially in the 2-week wait. I'm officially in the 2-week wait. And this was like kind of hectic for an insemination day. I think if I have to do this again next month, I think I'm gonna like turn my phones off. And like ignore calls until at least until I get the specimen in, because I felt like rushed and not in a good place. And even though I had my stuff playing in the background, it's just, but what I did get to do is lay on my back, elevate my feet, and in the hopes to keep the specimen closest to my cervix. During that time, I actually did the first part of the work that I needed to do while laying on my back. The things we do for fertility. And I did get to do my visualization, my conception visualization video. So I did watch that, and I got mostly through my donor interview, which is part of my ritual for IUIs. I always listen to my donor interview. And I've been listening to my binaural beats all morning. So I turned it on. I've been listening to it in my sleep and been listening to it all morning. And while I was waiting for my specimen to warm up to my body temperature, I actually it's like a hypnosis for fertility video or whatever. So just kind of tells you like to relax everything and whatnot. So I didn't feel like frantic. So, you know, maybe some of that definitely helped for this morning, but it's been a crazy kind of day. But I'm officially inseminated. The soft cup is in. Not going to remove it until about 8 o'clock tonight. That will officially be 12 hours. I'm still feeling like little twinges and things, you know, in my belly. And I wanted to talk about like the ferning, because I don't know. This is my first time really using like the ferning microscope. And I was starting to think that it wouldn't work for me because I had not seen any ferning whatsoever. And so I just kept testing, especially since, you know, my strips had peaked yesterday. And I just didn't see anything. And then on the sample that I had in there at 2 o'clock in the morning, but that sample sat for so long. Because the instructions tell you to put the saliva on there and let it dry for like, I think 5 minutes. And it does dry pretty quickly. But that sample was sitting there for a while. And then I was like, oh, before I go to bed, let me check my fernin sample. And I saw the ferning, but it was like transitional. It wasn't like full ferning. So I was really expecting to see full ferning this morning, but this morning I tried twice and nothing. Just absolutely nothing. So I don't know. I don't know if that has something to do with sort of like the forced ovulation from the soy and everything. So I'm gonna keep up the ferning microscope and see how that goes next cycle. That is if I'm not pregnant from this one, right? I'm not pregnant from this cycle. I'm going to keep up the fernin microscope and I'm glad that I saw the ferning because looking at my chart from last cycle, having done the soy, and the herbs, it's quite possible that, yeah, I got the peak, but then I didn't actually ovulate until like 2 days later. So it was good to see the ferning, and have a confirmation that ovulation was gonna occur pretty soon. But that was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then like 6:30 in the morning, nothing's there. So I don't know, maybe it's the way I'm doing my sample, the cells that are being collected, or the saliva that's being collected. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on the ferning and see if people have tips for making it happen. I don't know. But anyway, this insemination day is over. There's no acupuncture before, no acupuncture after, no acupuncture for the next couple of days or anything like that. They kind of just treat it like natural insemination. So I don't see my acupuncturist again until next Friday. And today is Saturday. I'm just glad that I was able to do it. Aside from the pre-seed, what I believe to be the pre-seed coming all out on my hand and stuff. Oh my gosh, I hope it was just pre-seed and not my actual sample. If that's the case, devastation. But I feel really good about this. Haven't done that. I was laying down for a while. I'm still doing some work over the next couple hours. And I did kind of feel like a little, I don't know, like maybe a little, like maybe the spermies got in there and started traveling up, and I started feeling like maybe a little sick in my stomach. And this video is just TMI anyway, but I want to say in like previous experiences, I think I kind of like have that feeling. So I don't know. And then I feel like I was getting a warming sensation in my uterus. Maybe from like when I was waiting for the pre-seed to heat up for 15 minutes. That was interesting. I'm not mad at it if pre-seed helps warm up your uterus. I'm not mad at that at all. Obviously you need a nice warm uterus to welcome everything, so totally not mad at that. So I don't know. I hope I pull the soft cup out and I see remnants of my sample still in it. Just whatever fluid is left, and then I know the fluid didn't back out and that was all pre-seed. I don't know. It was incredibly messy. I felt like I lost the entire thing. It was my first try, so I'm not gonna beat myself up too bad about it. But I think I did good with everything else. I got it out, I defrosted it, I spun it, kind of spun it so it could get mixed, and that doggone pre-seed. Oh well. My first experience with it. I see why people opt to go away with it, but I don't know. Right now, everything's just being caught in my soft cup, so we'll see what's in there when I pull it out later on tonight. But I've been laying down mostly in the morning. It's 12:30 now. It's been like 4 hours later, so I've pretty much been laying down and stuff. So now, since I'm still doing my fasting, I'm allowed to eat now. So I'm gonna go and rustle me up something to eat, and see how that goes. Until next time, folks, for all those who are TTCing, sticky baby dust. Bye.